Hello, Professor Rad here, and today we're going to talk about how you can multiply larger numbers using what's called the box method. So let's get started with an example so we can see what this is going to look like. So we're going to determine 267 times 38. Now this box method is going to remind me at the beginning a little bit of the addition process or subtracting left to right. I'm going to think of this 267 as 260 and 7. Then I'm going to think of this 38 as 30 and 8. So one number I break apart going across the top, and the other number I break apart going down the side. And then from that, I'm going to create my boxes. Now, what I'm going to do is find the product of each number that's on the side with each number that's at the top. In the last video, we talked about how if you have zeros involved in multiplication at the end of a number, you just add that many zeros at the end of the product. So for example, if I need to find 30 times 200, I could think of it as 3 times 2, which is 6. And then I have 2 zeros here and 1 0 here. So we'll do that for each number going across or inside the box. So for 30 times 60, 3 times 6 is 18. And then I had 2 zeros that I'm going to have to add on. And lastly, 3 times 7 is 21. And we only have 1 0 in this case. Now, if you don't have your multiplication tables memorized, you could write them off on the side using repeated addition, or you can use your fingers to add them up. In this case, I'm just going to keep using the multiplication tables that I know, but you can, use the technique that works best for you. So here we're going to have 8 times 2, which is 16, and then we have 2 zeros. 8 times 6 is 48, and then we have a 0, and 8 times 7 is 56. So we've gone through and we've multiplied all of the numbers on the outside times each other. Next, we're going to do an addition, and I like to write this off on the right-hand side here. So I'm going to add 6,000, 1,800, and 210 together. So I'm going to start on the right. All those zeros become 0. And then I have a 1, 0, 0, so a 1. A 2 and an 8 makes 10, so I'm carrying a 1. 2 and 6 makes 8, so I have 8,010. Across the bottom, we're going to have a 6 in the ones place. 8 and 5 makes 13. Carry over that 1. So 4 and 1 is 5, and 6 makes 11. Carry over that 1. 1 and 1 makes 2. Add those up. We get 6, 4, 1, and 10. So 267 times 38 is 10,146. So that's how you can use the box method for multiplication. Now, I did that addition in my head, but you can always write it off on the side or use whatever technique is going to work best for you. If you needed to write out 6,000 and then 1,800 and then 210, right? If you wanted to write that out to do your addition, you absolutely can. And we get that 8,010. Now, one of the reasons I like the box method is that it has a really nice connection to algebra. So in algebra, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to do any of this in this class, but in algebra, you're going to have a combination of numbers and letters that you're multiplying together. And you set it up the same way. So you can have the 2x cubed, the 6x squared, and the 7, and then the 3x and the 8. You multiply through to get those numbers in the boxes, and then you add all of those up to get the ending result. So if you know this process with numbers, that's going to make algebra process a little bit easier. Now I wanted to do one more example, since we'd only done one example together in here, of finding the product using the box method. So this time I have 526, and we're going to multiply that by 2,304. It doesn't matter which number you put across the top and which number you put across the side or down the side. I usually like to put the longer number across the top because, that way the problem takes up less vertical space and I've got that horizontal space to work with. So I'm going to put the second number across the top this time. So I'm going to do my 2,304. And then the 526. Draw my box. Okay. So now comes the multiplying part. We're going to multiply each number on the outside with each number across the top. I'm going to ask you to pause the video here and do all that multiplying. And then when you unpause the video, I'll have my answers in here and we can compare. Okay, so let's see how we did. So I've got 1 million in that first box, 150,000 in the next, 0 in the next, because remember, anything times 0 is always 0. And then 2,000 in this last one. 40,000 here, 6,000, 0, 80, and then 12,000, 1,800, 0, and 24. One thing I wanted to mention, because it hasn't come up in any of the problems we've done so far, I wanted to point out this 2,000 here, and making sure that I don't just have 200. So notice there's only 2 zeros involved, but I have 3 zeros in my answer. And that's because 4 times 5 is going to give me 20. So here's my 20, and then I add on those 2 additional zeros. Okay, and then we have to add these all up. Now, if you find adding horizontally kind of difficult, you can also add vertically. So that's what I'll do in this one. I'll add each of these numbers up in each column. So there's 0, 0, 0. Oh, the zeros make it nice. 2, 4, 5. I didn't line my numbers up super great. And then bring down that 1. A bunch of zeros at the end. But there's an 8 here. 0, 6, and 1 makes 7. Then we have the 5 and the 1. Zeros, nice. 4, 8 and 2 make 10. Bring down that 1, bring down that 2. Okay, so then I have these 4 numbers, and those I have to add up as well. So I'm going to write that off on the side. Sorry if you hear trucks outside. Add these all up. So we get a 4, 0, 9, 9, 10, 11, 10, 11, 2, and 1. Whew. So 526 times 2,304 is going to give us 1,211,904. Okay, so I do want to point out, you could also have added across each of these instead of adding down the columns like I did, and you still would get the same answer. So it doesn't matter whether you put the first number across the top or the first number along the side. And it doesn't matter if you add going across or if you add going down. They'll all give you the same value in the end. I think if you're taking the class with me and you're using the computer program for your homework, the computer program is set up this way for you to add across. Okay, so just bear that in mind. For now, you can do 2 problems for the Now You Tries, 145 times 23 and 217 times 42,356. In the next video, we'll use a different technique to determine the different products. So if you don't like the box method, we'll show you how you can use the traditional method instead. I hope this helped, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye for now, everyone.